Welcome to 247 Real Talk. I'm your host, Julian Perry. It's a pleasure to be here with you once again for another episode of the 247 Real Talk podcast. I hope you had a great week since we last spoke. This is going to be a short podcast because even though I seem full of energy, my kids were sick back and forth. Now I have it. I have a sore throat. I'm coughing. I'm sneezing. And I really contemplated not recording a podcast this week, an episode. But I know that many of my listeners have come to expect something from me, so I'm going to give it a shot for a short episode today, and I hope you'll sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Welcome to my new subscribers. Thank you to my continued subscribers, and for those who've left, hopefully you'll come back and join the conversation soon. So sit back, relax, and I'll be right back. So welcome back to the podcast. Again, I'm your host, Julian Perry. It's a pleasure to be here with you another week. Like I said, I'm under the weather today, so I'm going to make it short, but I wanted to leave you with some sort of inspiration. We're getting closer to the end of the week. The next time you get an episode from me, you would have gone through Christmas with your family, and you would have hopefully done all those things that sort of lend to the conversation we've been having about unity and bringing people together and solving issues by aligning ourselves with what's good and what's righteous. Again, I'm gonna follow up something I received from my pastor. It says, "Find what gives you joy and go there." Now, in this episode, I'm going to share a little bit of a personal experience. I'm going to reflect a little bit, but it says, "Find what gives you joy and go there." I have some listeners who are avid listeners who never miss an episode. And usually they will comment to me and say, whatever impression they got from the episode. And there's one listener, one of my favorite listeners, one of my staunchest supporters, who I've noticed hasn't been commenting recently. And so I asked him last week, "Do you still listen to the episodes?" And he said yes, but he's not commenting, or he's not as inspired, I want to put it, because of my change, I guess, in rhetoric and direction, of the decisions I have made when I decide to continue, or, as opposed to ending the podcast, to be more social minded, to be more uplifting, to talk about the issues, personal issues, to share what drives me and my faith. And he made it a point that he is not a believer in what I believe in. And because he's someone that I consider a confidant, someone I am consider a really good person and a good friend, it has stayed in my mind until now. And it stayed in my mind because what I'm trying to tell everyone out there is, when you listen to my podcast, when you listen to me, what I want you to get out of it, in a big way, is not that I am forcing you or pushing you to adopt what I believe. And so when I got this message that said, "Find what gives you joy and go there," I thought that a very important message, and poignant and timely in my thought process, because at the end of the day, we are individuals. Whatever you believe, should you believe what I believe in faith and a creator, and that we'll be accountable at the end of this journey, you still need to find what gives you joy and go there in a manner that's indicative of what you believe. I have met a lot of great, really nice people who don't believe, who don't follow my faith, who don't believe in the Creator. I have made it a point of not to get into those conversations, because I think that not only is there a level of faith and hope that has to be blind, but also I try to stick close to what I believe in and not have too much impact to my thought process. Because as human beings, we're all going to suffer tragedies. I talked to you guys about losing 5 friends this year. Those friends, at least 2 or 3 of them had wives, had families. I talk about losing a friend. They're talking about losing a spouse, a son, a brother, a father. And I know that when these things happen, and they happen not to someone, when my mother died, my mother was 86, I still said why. I wanted her to see more things in my life, and she didn't. But I can understand when it happens to someone, and you have a tragedy, someone that's lost, someone that's killed in an accident, someone that's murdered, so many things. These days, so many people are dying from cancer, so many people are committing suicide. The question is always there, why? And the answer to the why question has to be within what you believe. I could get into a deep down spiritual conversation with you about the fact that we live in a life where what has been asked from us by our Creator actually matches what we're living. But that's not the purpose of this podcast. If you decide that at some point along this journey that what I'm saying resonates with you beyond living a good life, and you feel that if you're not already there, that you want to be in the same spiritual realm, that's your decision. If you decide that you don't believe, but I know many people, like I said, who on this earth, the things they do are good, including my friend, then that's your decision. But the reason I've decided to have this conversation this week is because this podcast is not about my spirituality. I am always going to talk about my spirituality because that is me. But this podcast is about living a good life, about treating each other with kindness, about righteousness, about lifting each other up, about helping each other through tough times, about recognizing when things are wrong and trying to do what needs to be done to make it right in a righteous way. No matter what you believe, that's a good way to live this life. It's still one life. So whatever you choose to believe, it's important that you understand that the conversations I have are not to sway you, but to uplift you, to live a good life, to find your joy, and to find it in a way that's kind and considerate of other people and humane, no matter where you are, or no matter where you are in your journey of life. I once had a pastor in my church who was an atheist, and he became a pastor. Our life is a journey. Things change, things happen that sway us one way or the other. But we all can still be good people. We all can recognize injustice, and we all can make a difference. So I come to you in that realm because I began to realize after speaking with my friend that the maybe 2 or 3 dozen subscribers I've lost over the last 2 months probably figured, oh, he's talking about him. No, that's not what it is. You don't have to believe what I believe to be here in this effort to make lives better for all of us. The reason I've divested this podcast from the political realm is because what's associated with it right now in this time is hatred, anger, violence, and some of the most vile things we've experienced. I don't want to add to what you're already seeing in the news and everybody else is negative. I want to be that beacon of light, that hope, that promise, that podcast you turn to when you want to be uplifted. This is our purpose. This is my purpose. And it's poignant that conversation happened with my friend, and I'm having this conversation with you today because next week, Thursday, we celebrate goodness. Wherever you are, whatever side of the coin you're on, you gather with family and friends and enjoy uplifting and loving each other. And that's a start. For those who don't want to believe and take my journey, again, it is still important for you to live a good life. Not only for others, but for yourself, for your joy, for your peace. You know, there's often people in my spiritual belief that tell you when someone has done something wrong to you, you forgive them and it takes a burden off of you. I have found that to be true as a human being. So there are things that I will tell you about that relate to my spirituality, but they're for the goodness of your life, whatever you believe. And as I sit here, I feel my voice going, so I'm gonna close out this episode. I want to wish every single one of you a wonderful holiday season. It is important that you set positive goals and positive visions ahead, so that your journey ahead is joyful as you seek your joy in a righteous and uplifting and caring and humane and loving way. There will be one more episode before, so I wish you Happy New Year then. But for now, season's greetings, wishing you and your family the best. And as you sit around on Christmas Day, whether you sit with each other, whether you are separated, my father is away from me right now, whatever distances they are, remember who we are as human beings can cross a lot of physical distance when our heart extends love to each other. Thank you so much for your continued support. And as I said, even though my voice is going, I am appreciative of every one of you. Until the next time, please take care of yourselves and each other.